Hello, everyone. I'm Danny Valdez, and you have made it to the live signing of Katie Couric's new book, Going There. For more than 40 years, Katie Couric has been an iconic presence in the media world. In her brutally honest, hilarious, heartbreaking memoir, she reveals what was going on behind the scenes of her sometimes tumultuous personal and professional life, a story she's never shared until now. Katie, welcome, and how are you today?
Hi, Danny. I'm great. So great to be here. And thanks everybody who's a part of this live signing. I've never done this before, so this should be fun.
Hey, well, we've done it a lot, and we're so glad you're doing it. And this book seems to be, I don't know, is juicy the right word? I mean, anytime somebody says going there, it's like, oh, they're going there. They're going to go there. Get ready. So you're
Well,
going there.
I had a hard time figuring out the title. There were a lot of titles in the running, and I really thought going there as in terms of like spilling the tea wasn't my
Sure.
first interpretation of that phrase. It was really meaning a multitude of things. I think it meant going there, like going to the places you needed to go to be successful,
Hmm.
taking risks, having
Yes.
tough conversations, and and I think, yes, also being honest about your experiences. And so we thought, well, that's a fun title that fits. I really was interested in calling it Moxie because that's what my dad said I had
Yes.
when I was younger, which means sort of spirited determination. But nobody else liked it but me, so we did go, we did going there instead.
Well, I love the title. And for the next hour, Katie's going to be hopefully going there with us, signing
Yeah.
books and answering as many of your questions as possible. For those who have just tuned in and have not yet purchased a book, you actually still have time to order one of her autographed copies. And we don't mean stamped autograph in the front
No.
page. We mean she signed these books. And just go over to premiercollectibles.com/going there. You can order a book, but also when you order, you can actually ask a question directly to her, which I'll get on my iPad here. And if we have enough time, we'll get to your question. And so many have already ordered and questions already coming in. But
Great.
uh,
Thank you all for ordering the book. Thank you for reading what's actually in the book. And I can't wait till people read it and tell me what they think and if they got something from that whole experience.
now, again, the title Going There, I love it. Tell us in your words what this book is about. What is there a main plot, if you will?
Well, I wouldn't say so, Danny. It's really just a holistic look at a big, unexpected life full of extraordinary experiences, uh, no small measure of heartache and loss and grief, um, taking chances, taking risks, having things not always work out the way you thought,
Mm,
picking yourself up and, finding resilience to go on. It's also really about family. It's
mm,
really a love letter to my parents, who gave me the values I have and who shaped me into the person I became. Um, it's it's also, I think, a look back at the last 40 years against the it's my story against a backdrop of some pretty significant social change
yeah.
when it comes to things like race and gender, uh, sexual orientation, and how much our views have evolved in
Yeah.
recent years on so many of these issues. So I was really interested in examining my approach to certain things early in my career and how I personally have evolved and grown.
Yeah. Do you think people's views of these social issues, when you say evolved, is improving, or is there more? I don't know to use a word I've heard in the media. Is there more spin now more than ever?
That's a really big, hard question. I think that we're making some progress in talking about these issues. I think the murder of George Floyd made us really, you know, you could not deny the treatment of a black man by police, something that had been recorded increasingly over recent years. because of cell phones, but I'm sure happened with, happened often before they were actually memorialized on a rectangle in your hand.
Yeah.
So I do think that we're coming to terms with a lot of things. The Me Too movement made us rethink power dynamics in the
Mm.
workplace and what actually constitutes a consensual relationship and workplace behavior in general. Um, I think it's interesting. I covered Matthew Shepard's murder in Wyoming in the 90s, and then I interviewed Jim Obergefell, who was the plaintiff in the Supreme Court same-sex marriage case. So, I do feel we've made progress, and yet the current
Sure.
media environment is so bifurcated and the country is so divided that people are now creating their own media ecosystems.
Wow. Yeah.
And as a result, I think it's really hard these days to have important national conversations on a whole panoply of issues that really deserve investigating.
Wow. That's a great insight. It does seem like people are sort of, at least a lot of people I know are kind of abandoning traditional media outlets, and they've got their, like, I'll get a text every week from somebody who's like, check this out. And it's from a news source that has come up on Instagram, or, someone decided to start and they have 30,000 followers, and people lean on them for updates.
And that's hard too, because there's so many questionable sources
Right.
and so many agenda driven sources. I mean, I would
Yeah.
argue that even certain parts of the mainstream media have become increasingly agenda driven.
Sure.
But it's really a confusing time for a consumer who's trying to understand what's going on in the world when so much of the information they're receiving is slanted, or it's being promulgated and perpetuated by organizations that do have a vested interest in having you agree with them, or, one way or another. And
Yeah.
it's really media literacy is so important, I think, now more than ever, that we understand the information we're getting and where we're getting it from. And,
Mm.
and we're considering the source, especially
Yeah.
with misinformation and disinformation, such a huge problem in our country today. And we've seen this with the Facebook revelations, and how it works, and how it really kind of inculcates people in a certain way of thinking.
Yeah. You mean like where
I'm getting very like journalism professory. Sorry.
this is good. This is good. I think this is why people are buying your book. They want this. Do you mean with Facebook, sort of the revelation of what social media is, how we're the product? We're actually not the customer.
Yeah, this whole idea of personalized information. You put some, information about yourself. There was a whole case of this woman named Carol who said she was Christian, into parenting and something else, and that she liked Fox News. And suddenly she was inundated with QAnon
Wow.
material
Yeah.
and all sorts of conspiracy material, all sorts of things it just showed in real time how people are fed information, and basically given a narrow sliver of a
Yeah.
point of view, and it distorts, I think, their view of the world. And I think this goes for people on all political sides.
Yeah. Yeah. I had some friends, they'll forward me a couple links. I click on them, and all of a sudden the robots are convinced that I am a full-on conspiracy type. And all of now the content that comes, I mean, for the past couple of weeks, all the content I get is some of it's interesting, but a lot of it's just really out there with no grounds. And I think about, I have teenagers, and I think about how, they're probably getting similar links, and it's like, man, if their whole view of the world is through the black box,
Right.
right? So we're, as parents, starting to get really serious about what TV is. But back to your book, do you get you share personal stories too, not just from your experience in journalism, but also in your personal life?
Oh yeah, it's a deeply personal book. And I talk about the fact that I had an eating disorder in my
Mm,
late teens through my early 20s. And you know, that obviously is very personal. I talk about sort of fun dating escapades I had. I talk about meeting my husband and why I fell in love with him. I talk about just, it's fun and funny. And
yeah.
I kind of wrote it as if I was sitting around with friends of mine and really talking honestly
Mm,
about my
yeah.
experiences. I tried not to sanitize it too much. Obviously, I had to some, but I think I would, it's very, I don't want to say confessional, but it's very honest. And one of my friends, who's also a journalist, said it was very self-aware, which I
Mm,
appreciated that comment so much, because I look at my own decisions, my own choices, my own behaviors and attitudes, and try to kind of mind those as well, and excavate why I had certain attitudes and certain feelings at any given time.
yeah.
And as a result, I think it's quite revealing.
Mm. Well, and being a media personality for as long as you have, obviously you've had critics. And a question I sort of wanted to ask you personally is, do you, being in it this long, when you have criticism like that, or people put controversy at your feet, do you say, oh, that's just part of the game? Of course, I'm a media personality. They're going to do that and it's no big deal. Or does it affect you personally?
I think it's never fun to be attacked, no matter how many times it's happened. But I do think you kind of reach a point where you it sort of goes, I hate to say it, but it goes with the territory. And if you're a public figure, I think the fact that anyone can unleash their anger, their disdain for you and have a voice and a platform, that's going to happen, you know. But it's not always easy. But I think at 64, I have a lot of confidence in who I am and the person I am. It is kind of funny when I raise things where I've said, maybe, I look at my role in this and suddenly people are jumping on me and I'm like, it's my book. I wrote it.
That's
I
right.
included it for a reason. So don't act like this is some big expose or something. um, but so I just wanted to be really honest. But I think for so long I was a people pleaser and I wanted everyone to like me. And women in particular, I think, struggle with this whole likability issue. We're so
Mm,
programmed to, not step on toes and go along to get along and be the nice girl and all that. And yet, if you're going to be a leader or excel in many different professions, sometimes you have to be tough and demanding and have high standards and high expectations. And that for many people just doesn't comport with this other idea of being sweet and accommodating.
yeah.
And so I think there's this constant struggle. And I've really much I don't really care that much that everybody likes me anymore. I just want to be my true authentic self. And that, I think, is the liberating part I was referring to. It gives you a certain amount of freedom that you don't have to squeeze yourself into this little box just to please somebody you'll never meet.
Mm.
There was a funny Instagram post that said, "You don't like everyone, so why should everyone like you?"
Oh, yes. That's
Which is
fantastic.
true. I think most, I'd prefer to be appreciated and respected.
I feel like I
You
just
know,
saw that meme.
you did?
Yeah, I feel like maybe it was about a week or so. It's
Yeah.
max. Yeah, I
And
think
I
I
thought
just,
that's true. I don't like everyone, so why
yeah,
should I expect everyone to like me?
yeah, absolutely. I'm out here not liking people myself. Well, so many questions have come in from people who've bought this book. And are you ready to jump
Oh,
to the
yay. And they've read it?
well, I don't know, but I know that they know you, and they have they want to know some things.
Okay, great.
All right, so let's go to Vanessa from Eugene, Oregon. It says, what inspired you to write this book now? I can't wait to read it. You were such an inspiration to everyone. Thank you for being so kind. I love your live Instagram interviews with great information that helps spread awareness on current issues. Thank you for being you, Vanessa.
Oh, thanks, Vanessa. Well, I wrote it because at 64, I thought, if not now, when? And I thought about calling it While I Still Remember. And yeah.
Wait, is this your first book?
Yeah, I wrote a book of advice that I had collected from various people I'd interviewed through the years, and I did a bit of autobiographical stuff in that book. But this is really the first book I've written, and definitely the first memoir. And you know, I wanted, as I don't know if I said this, Danny, already, but this was really a gift for my daughters, to kind of understand me a little bit better, their family, my family, Jay's family. And you know, they miss my parents a lot. My parents and my girls were very close, especially after my husband died. And just to have kind of something that they can hold in their hands and read about their father, and read about how I kept going even when I got knocked down at times. And so they were my primary audience. And then I thought, well, maybe other people could learn something or be interested in this crazy journey I've had. So I also, Vanessa, really needed to clean out my basement because I had so many boxes full of junk. And I thought, I'm saving them in case I ever write a book. And now that I have, I can get rid of a lot of them.
You can clear up some space.
Yeah.
You know, I could tear up at that thought of writing it for your kids. You know, I've always felt like everyone should write a book, even if they don't publish it.
I agree.
You know,
I so agree.
The book of mom, the book of dad, you know, like,
Yeah. And just, you know, there's so many questions. I was extremely close to my parents. And today I have so many questions I wish I had asked them.
wow.
And to just kind of really, it's such a gift, I think, to leave to your children, you know, information about their family. And then
Yeah.
they can add to it and leave it to their children, because so much rich family history is forgotten.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I love history and I love family. So um
Yeah.
it seems like a great thing to do, to even sit down and record yourself
Yeah.
talking and getting it
Yeah.
transcribed for your kids. And you know what
Love
life
that.
was like when you were in college, or what your parents were like, or the struggles that they had. It just makes you feel more connected, I think, to humanity, to understand your own story.
I love that. I love that so much. Imagine you write a book, then your kids write a book, and then their kids, and then maybe it's assembled 100 years from now into this encyclopedia of our
Yeah.
family lineage and what we're about and what we did in ancient time. I mean, that's really cool. Anyways, let's go to Edward from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. My daughter is a all caps huge fan of Katie Couric. Years ago, when we were on vacation in London, England, staying at a wonderful small hotel, she was having so much fun, but disappointed that she couldn't get her dose of Katie Couric in the morning. As we exited the elevator, there you were. Wow, okay, this is a sighting. She was speechless and never said a word, but it was a highlight of her trip. Thank you
Aw.
for all you do and for signing your book. For Adrienne, I think that's how you say that.
How do you spell it? ADRI.
Adrienne.
So Adrian. Yeah. Right.
Adrienne. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm happy to. And that's so cute. And I wish she had stopped and talked to me.
Yeah.
That was like a weird vision thing. And I appreciate it. You know, I think it's interesting, Danny, because I think a lot of young women watched me when they were coming of age or growing up or
Yeah.
kind of figuring things out. And it was really important for me. I write in the book that when I got the job on the Today Show, I asked if there could be a 50-50 division of labor, which doesn't maybe sound like that big a deal, but back then in 1991, it was a pretty radical request.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted that is because I wanted to do whatever I could to model strong behavior, to model that a woman could be smart and competent and engaged and could handle challenging, content and challenging interviews as well as her male counterparts.
Mhm.
And so to hear that Adrian, I don't know how old she is, but she probably is quite a bit younger than I am. If her dad is maybe my age or thereabouts, it makes me feel full of pride that somehow I I was able to project that across the TV screen.
Mm. Lindsay from New York, New York. What was your first paid job as a newscaster?
As a well, in TV news or as a newscaster, I mean, I go through sort of how I toiled in local news for many years.
Okay.
I tried to go on the air at CNN, and the president of the network uh, told the news the assignment editor that he never wanted to see me on the air again.
Oh,
I guess I
wow.
was really, really bad. And then I went to Atlanta and I did some on-air reporting for CNN, but they still didn't want to make me a full-time reporter. I don't think that anybody
Wow.
thought I was good enough. And then I went to Miami, and that was where I first became a full-time on-air reporter at WTVJ in Miami. But the road was not, it was paved with good intentions, but it was also very rocky for me early on in my career. And I just kept trying and I kept getting better. And Malcolm Gladwell says it takes 10,000 hours to become really proficient at something. And I think he's right, because the more I did it, the better I got.
Yeah.
And for some unknown reason, I just was like a dog with a bone. I just wouldn't give up.
Mm. Love that. Hannah from Baltimore, Maryland. What is one of your favorite memories from being on the Today Show?
So many, Hannah. I mean, it sounds sort of crazy, but I've always wanted to be a singer, and I can't sing that well, although I sing better than anyone in my family, which is
We don't get a
really,
sneak preview today, do we?
no, no, no. I mean, I can carry a tune. Nobody else in my family can really carry a tune.
If there
Oh,
wasn't a
Carrie,
delay.
oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my immediate family. My friend Adriana is here. She's like, Carrie, my daughter has a spectacularly beautiful voice, which I think she inherited from my husband's side of the family because they're great singers. But
Okay.
but I got to sing with Darlene Love. It's in His Kiss. And that was, I don't know why, that just stands out as such a fun experience. But there have been so many incredible memories from the Today Show. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick even, a dozen, because I got to see the world. I got to travel all over the place. I got to meet everyone from Elizabeth Taylor to, George Clooney
Wow.
I interviewed all these incredible authors. I was trying to think of the author who wrote Winds of War, Herman Woke, who I loved, who was so fun, and George Burns. I interviewed and got to pretend I was smoking a cigar with him. He wrote me a letter that I have framed on my wall. I mean,
Wow.
talk about how lucky and fortunate and privileged I've been to just be able to be in the presence of such brilliant people in so many different arenas. It's overwhelming when I think about it and look back on everyone I've been, encountered through my career.
Mm. Sean from Dallas, Texas writes, if you could give a young journalist seeking to be a newscaster any piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say it's really important, Sean, to first of all, you've got to love it. You have to make a lot of sacrifices. You have to maybe miss a keg party on a Saturday night because there's a good story that you can cover, or you have to work long hours, and you have to appreciate that things don't happen overnight. And I
Yeah.
always tell young people to take a good hard look at their skill set, what they're good at. What do they really love? Because what they love won't feel like work. So are you a good fast writer? You need to be that if you're going to be a newscaster. You need to be able to write and have a good vocabulary. And do those things well. And like I did, you can get better at it.
Yeah.
So I would just say, put in the time, put in the effort, put in the work, and get better, and find a mentor who can
Mm,
take you under his or her wing and help show you the ropes, because that I think is also really important.
huge. Love that. That's huge. Trevor from Salt Lake City, what is one of your favorite stories that you have covered in your career?
These are always so hard
You've
because,
covered so
you
much. I know.
guys,
That's
I've
huge.
been doing it for 40 years, and
And now you have to pick a favorite. No,
you
maybe one of,
know,
one of.
I think that I've met so many people who I really love this story of a man, Milton Friedkin. Is that Fradkin? Was that Milton? Anyway, Irving Fradkin. Sorry, Irving Fradkin was an optometrist in Fall River, Massachusetts, and he started Dollars for Scholars in 19, I believe, 57, where he asked the people of Fall River to put $1 in an envelope so they could help send kids to college who couldn't afford it.
Mm,
Well, fast forward, and Irving Fratkin started an organization that sent thousands of kids to college, that raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's called Scholarship America. And I've always been so moved by one person, like the Margaret Mead quote about never doubting uh, that a small group of committed people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. When one person comes up with an idea and they build it into something amazing. Oral Lee
yeah.
Brown, I'm interviewing her for my book tour in San Francisco. She started a scholarship fund. Has sent so many kids to college as well. So those stories really move me and inspire me.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky to meet countless people like that, ordinary people who do extraordinary things throughout my career.
Mm. Greg from West Bend, any plans to try another daytime talk show? I loved watching Katie each afternoon and was sad
Oh,
to see that series end so relatively soon.
thank you. Yes, it lasted 2 hours. I mean, I think the problem for me with the talk show is, um, you know, and I think that people who do it well are enormously talented, but it's more emphasis sort of on the fun and the fun and games of it all. And I found that the Venn diagram of my interest, talking about really important issues and sort of what some of the audience was demanding, which was a real break from their day and just kind of a chance to relax, weren't necessarily, there wasn't enough overlap. And so I enjoyed doing that show, but I really like news. And even though I may seem fun and perky, I actually really like thinking and addressing uh,
Mm,
big, important, kind of vexing issues. But
yes.
thank you for watching it when it was on. It was expensive to produce and really too expensive to justify it, given the ratings were good but not gangbusters.
Sure.
So it ended. But I think I wasn't sure whether afternoons was exactly the right place for me. I think in the mornings I could do a lot of serious, hard-hitting interviews and then do some fun stuff. But afternoons were just a little trickier. And that's when the media landscape was really starting to shift to DVR and TiVo
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So it was hard to really build a big audience.
You
But
think
thank you for watching.
do you think prime time for the deep stuff is morning or like even late night? Late night, I see so much comedy and goofing off, and I always thought, isn't late night the time to go deep? But
Well,
I'm
it's funny because I think that the time you come on is really not as important as the
okay.
content you're creating now,
Yeah.
because you can have access to content anytime. The late night shows, Danny, do much better on YouTube and things like that
That's a good point. Yeah.
than people who are actually turning it on in real time. So
Right.
I think it's changed. That's one of the reasons I love doing Instagram lives or love doing interviews that I can post on
Mm,
my personal channels, because I feel like somebody is like, people are busy, they have a lot going on, but they can say, oh, this is interesting, I'd like to watch this now when I can, and really focus on it instead of like running around the house and possibly not even listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. And wanted to say hello to everyone just tuning in. This is actually a special edition book that is autographed by Katie. And if this would make a great addition to your collection or a great gift for a like-minded friend, just head to premiercollectibles.com/going there if you want to go there with Katie Couric. And I encourage you to go to that link before they're sold out, because that really happens. Let's go to Jennifer from Boulder, Colorado. Any advice to a young, specifically female journalist as they are entering into this industry?
Well, I think now more than ever, you have to have multiple skills, right? You have to really be able, like, to edit things on your iPhone, for example,
Yeah.
because people are getting content from every direction. So if you can edit, I wouldn't necessarily depend just solely on television, because TV ratings are declining.
Mm.
And I think it's a great centerpiece still to your career, but make sure you're aware of changing consumer habits and trends. Think about, how do you iterate the content to work on a variety of platforms, right? How do you start your own channel? There's something great about being the boss of you and not necessarily relying on someone who, for whom you may no longer be the flavor of the month.
Mm.
And so I would just say, make sure that you widen your skill set, that you stay curious, that you take advantage of every opportunity where you think you could learn something. And again, as I said earlier, try to find a mentor who can help kind of give you honest feedback so you can get better.
Jeremy from Seattle, Washington asks, can you tell us about the preparation you took for writing this book? Did you read other memoirs, etc.?
Personal History by Catherine Graham is a memoir I've always admired because it's extremely honest as well. It's probably not as dishy as mine. I think just dishy is probably a good word. Danny, you were saying juicy. I think kind of it's a little dishy at times, but it's also not dishy at all at times. I was worried about reading too many memoirs because I didn't want to be too influenced by other people's writings. I read a memoir by someone who had a restaurant in Connecticut called The Lost Kitchen. Sorry, did I say, where did I say? Connecticut, sorry, in Maine, called The Lost Kitchen, who had had a very tumultuous life. And I was interested in her approach, but I really, in terms of preparation, I had to find a lot of documents. I had to do a lot of searching through, like, my diary when I was in fourth grade, letters that my mom kept, who was also a pack rat, written by her grandmother and my father.
Wow.
My daughter Carrie, Sister Carrie is actually a book by Theodore Dreiser. Sorry. I've been talking a lot today. My daughter Carrie did a lot of research about our family history, and that was super helpful to me. And so I would call people I worked with, I would call people I knew, to help me kind of mine these memories. So those were some of the things I did to prepare.
Toby from Chicago, Illinois, there is excitement and backlash to your book, which I can't wait to read. Do you feel some of your memoirs backlash as a result of your shining light on the Me Too, good old boy nature of journalism and entertainment?
Possibly some of it. And some of it, I think, is some confusing primal instinct we have to tear people down,
Just
unfortunately.
because they wrote a book and that's enough.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think if you don't comport with people's expectations, or you're honest,
Yeah.
or I think there's a lot of, just in the culture at large, a lot of anger and resentment towards people.
Mm.
And I'm not sure where the backlash was coming from, because it was as we were, Danny, talking as we were getting ready, it was sort of the willful misrepresentation of the things I wrote to kind of construct a narrative that's based on kind of sexist tropes.
Mm.
So I think there might have been some of that. And, I still think we have a hard time in our culture with women who speak their mind with authority and no regret. And I was really just kind of telling it like it was, but maybe some people, as what did they say in A Few Good Men? They can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing I remember from the movie.
Yeah.
So do you go into depth, some of the behind the scenes of the negative aspects of some of these big corporations that were not faithful in the treatment of their employees?
Yeah. I mean, I think I talk most candidly. Well, I talk candidly about everything, but I talk about the experiences I had. Um, I think mostly about CBS. And listen, I do it without kind of an axe to grind. It was just sort of the way it was. I mean, my husband, John, says it was just atrocious the way I was treated there. But I just think it was misguided. Um, the whole effort to bring me there. It was a bit of a shtick. Les Moonves, who was the head of entertainment, wanted me to change, the format of the show. They wanted me to shake things up. That was my kind of, those were my marching orders. The problem was neither the audience nor the people inside CBS really wanted that. So
Yeah.
here I come and I talk about the body rejecting the organ. Like I was transplanted into this CBS culture. And I don't think they were really interested in doing the kinds of things that I had been, sorry, I'm so uncomfortable in this chair, that I had been
Right.
brought in to do. And also, I was a very different kettle of fish than the stentorian voiced super macho male anchorman, good evening. I was just much more kind of casual and
Yeah.
relaxed and authentic. And I think that's what they wanted at first. And then when it didn't work, they were like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? And, here I was just kind of floundering, but John again told me this morning, like, I'm so proud that you like hung in there and you humped it at CBS. You kept working your what? That's an expression. We're I just working.
I love your
And
being PR team. That's beautiful.
it's actually my colleague slash assistant slash researcher, Adriana. We don't really have a PR team here. This is Adriana.
Hi, Adriana. Oh, you guys are in a hotel. Okay.
No, this is my daughter Ellie's room.
Oh, it's a room. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, this is her bedroom and it's quiet back here. So this is where I sometimes do these Zooms. But and I don't even, well, there are a few people I hold accountable for this, but it was just a bit of a culture clash. And I think when a whole industry is constricting and not growing, which TV news is constricting because of the digital competition, and as I said, the splintered, fragmented media landscape, it doesn't necessarily bring out the best in people.
Wow. Yeah. James from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Hi, Katie. Thank you for taking my question. What is the most difficult interview you had to do? Thank you.
Gosh, there were a lot of them that were really challenging. I always cite an interview I did at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, after that mass shooting. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold opened fire on all those kids. And it was the first, the carnage was, and I interviewed a man, Isaiah Scholes, who lost his son, Isaiah.
Wow.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. It was Michael Scholes, who lost his son, Isaiah, and Craig Scott, who lost his sister, Rachel. It was so soon after this. First of all, like to ask people like that to go on national television in this moment of pure and utter despair, that's a lot to ask someone, but they did. And they were so fragile and really so broken, actually, that I wanted to be sure that they were okay. I didn't want to contribute to their trauma, and just handling that and helping them and being there really as a support system more than anything else, so they could tell their story. That was really, really hard and challenging. But those are the interviews I think that I do well, because I've always been an empath, and I always, when I need to, because not everyone needs to be handled with care. Some people need to be, taken to task.
Yeah.
But it was really important for me that I treat them and honor their presence, and honor the people they had lost, and honor how shattered this community was, and
Wow.
continue to be for many, many years to come.
I mean, I literally feel that as you're saying it. Do you feel that your job is more to give voice to truthful issues rather than extract a narrative?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's different things at different times. I think plenty of interviews, I have to just really speak truth to power, and really hold people accountable. And then there are other interviews that require a totally different skill set.
Yeah.
So through my career, I've had to kind of dig for both of them.
Yeah. Justin from Virginia Beach asks, what's one thing that you want readers to take after reading your book?
That life is sometimes hard, and we're all complicated, but I think I want people to keep trying, trying to be better, trying to figure out, trying to understand things that they think they know about, but maybe don't. And that it's, no matter what age you are, it's possible to grow and be better. But as I think I said earlier, there are so many different lessons in here about loss and grief, about facing mortality, about being honest with yourself and the people you love, about accepting failure, or disappointment, and somehow finding not only the strength, but appreciating the joy out there that is still to be had. I write a lot about meeting my husband now, after suffering terrible loss and having to kiss a lot of frogs, and kind of learning about people who I don't think necessarily treated me that well, but I think it's all part of the journey, as they say.
Sure.
And if you can be honest with yourself, I think that's a real gift.
Yeah. Well, want to jump and save a little time if you will entertain us with 22
That went
questions.
by so fast. Thank you for, can I just say, I can't see very well anymore, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who came on this Zoom, and Danny, to you. It's nice to be able to actually have these longer conversations and answer thoughtful questions. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
Yes.
And to you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. If the producers would let me, I'd actually hang out with you all day today. I have a job and I want to keep it. So
okay.
I'm kidding. Would you, how about 22 questions in 2 minutes? These are just fun breakfast style things. We'd love to get to know you better.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Who would you like to have dinner with, past or present?
Oh God. Eleanor Roosevelt.
um, which one, Game of Thrones or Stranger Things? Neither is
Uh,
acceptable as well.
Stranger Things. I don't like blood and gore. I
Oh, me
can't
neither.
deal with it.
Life's traumatic enough. What is your favorite breakfast food?
Um, a smoothie probably, but I am very partial to bacon. I am a firm believer that everything's better with bacon.
Hey, can't argue that. What's your favorite genre of music?
Um, emo female artists from the late 70s, like Joni, or and probably early 70s, like Joni Mitchell and Carla
Yeah,
Bonoff, and I don't know, Carole King, people like that.
heck yeah. Who was your idol growing up?
My dad.
What is your favorite international cuisine?
Italian.
What is your favorite candy bar?
Um, my favorite, Reese's Cups.
I was gonna say Reese's has something called Fast Break, and then Take Five. The Take Five has pretzel in it. Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that. I
very
love
good.
peanut butter. I love peanut butter of all kinds and
Oh,
almond butter, but peanut butter even more.
combine it with chocolate, and what
Yeah,
sort of?
there you go.
Do you have a favorite season?
Yes, summer.
What is your favorite childhood memory?
Eating on my back porch with my parents, like after I'd been swimming at my friend's like swimming pool. We didn't really belong to a swimming pool. So I'd go with Janie McMullen to Donaldson Run and pay the $3 fee and get a frozen Snickers bar. That was very exciting. But
Oh,
coming home after like just feeling a little sunburned and tired, having been spent all day at the pool and having like corn on the cob and sliced tomatoes from a nearby farm that we would go to, the farm stand, and maybe, I don't know, something on the grill that my dad made, and just sitting around the table and making my parents laugh.
oh, that's beautiful. Do you have a favorite animal?
Favorite animal?
Yeah,
No.
like dogs,
I like
cat.
all, I like, oh, well, I grew up with cats, and then I had a lot of dogs. I was addicted to puppies for a period of time there. I really like most animals. I like all animals except for we had a rabbit once, and that thing was nasty.
Get out
Yeah.
of here, nasty rabbit.
Well, it just, I mean, we just don't, you don't want to get into the whole issues of having rabbits with the pellet. It's just nasty.
I do, but maybe later.
Yeah.
What do you never leave home without?
Um, my phone, and these days my glasses.
Do you have a favorite superhero?
No,
Favorite time of the day?
at the beach at 5 p.m.
Hey, time and place. Have you ever ridden in a hot air balloon?
Yes.
What is your favorite board game?
Scrabble,
What are your favorite pizza toppings?
sausage and pepperoni. I'm obviously a carnivore.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite teacher? This could be his history teacher, spiritual teacher, past, present.
Mr. Belair, I think junior high school or high school. Oh, also Max Smith. He was my government teacher. Mr. Belair, I think, was also my government teacher. And he was great. I loved Mr. Smith and Mr. Belair.
Movie popcorn with or without butter?
Um, a little butter, but not too much.
Medium
I have a
butter.
story in my book, Danny, where my mom never let me buy popcorn at the movie theater. She'd say the movie is a treat enough. My parents were very frugal.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say.
I used to take my friend's empty buttered popcorn cup and just smell it during the movie. That's sort of sad, isn't it?
Shout out to the broke kids out there. It's kind of a good point. The movie's treat enough. All the parents right now are like, amen. Uh, who's your favorite author?
Who's my favorite author? Gosh, that's hard too. I guess I would say F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Hmm. And who has impacted you the most?
In my life.
Yeah.
That's so hard too. Um, I guess I would have to say again, my parents.
Yeah.
And for so many reasons, for introducing me to so many things, for having me work at a camp for blind kids when I was in high school, for supporting me and for letting my freak flag fly.
Love that. Well, that's all the time we have. To order Katie's limited edition autograph book, go to premiercollectibles.com/going there. And whether you are a collector or lover of books, Premier Collectibles has the best-selling author signed books that everyone wants. If you want to be a part of the live signing experience with more of your favorite authors, follow Premier Collectibles on Instagram or Facebook. And Katie, from all of your friends who have tuned in, and from all of us at Premier Collectibles, we really appreciate you joining us today. This has been very meaningful for me, and thanks a lot.
Thanks, Danny, for your time. And thanks, everybody. And I hope you like the book and let me know. And if you don't like it, don't let me know.
We don't want to hear about it. Gift it to a friend. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Hey, this is Jon Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.